How far would you go to protect your unborn baby? During my experience, I met a mother who shared with me a very sad story. This story sheds light on the experiences of cervical incompetence, which many mothers face but a few understand. Let's call this mother Jen. So it was around 2022 when I met this mother that we are going to call Jen. So Jen came to the hospital after losing her fifth child. Fifth child. I think mothers out there, you know what this means. Losing a fifth child, and she didn't know why. So Jen had been losing her children around 5 months, but they would always tell her it's maybe witchcraft or people don't like her to have babies. So somehow, someone somewhere is doing something to her. So doing a check in the hospital, Jen actually had an incompetent cervix. An incompetent cervix is a cervix that cannot carry a child. Yeah, I know they are wondering how, because a cervix is part of the reproductive system and it is supposed to support you through pregnancy. But there are actually people that are born with cervixes that cannot carry children. And this is what happens with this category of people. So every time the pressure gets too much on your cervix, it opens up and you end up getting a miscarriage or an abortion, depending on how long it takes in. But usually it's around 5 months maximum when you lose this child. What causes cervical incompetence? There is quite a number of reasons. One being genetical. So genetical means you're just born like that. So some women are just born with cervixes that can just open at any time because of their making. That is how God created them. So 2 hormones. So as women, we have different hormones in our bodies. So every time we have more of something and less of something, we are going to end up having different issues. So every time you're having hormones that are not balanced, your cervix is going to be softened and it will open at a time it is not supposed to open. So we also have accidents and trauma. Every time you have, let's say, a body accident or any accident that you can face, your cervix can get a problem and carrying a child becomes hard. Every time you try carrying a child, there's things like that. The cervix just opens like that because maybe there is a problem that came from somewhere, or you got like a physical trauma. Maybe you fought with someone or got injured in any way. The other reason is surgery. So women have different surgeries for different reasons. The one exposing surgery to cervical incompetence is when we have abortion surgeries. So these abortion surgeries, depending on who does it, people do not really care about your anatomy, depending on where you go. So they might end up damaging your reproductive system by damaging your cervix. How do you get to know that you have an incompetent cervix? So there is only one way to know. Going to the hospital and you do a checkup, because this is something you can't do at home or check for yourself. Yeah, you can't be like, okay, let me go in the mirror and see if my cervix is competent. So the only way we can know is by going to our doctors, going to the hospital, and we check and we get results. So you shouldn't worry that you have an incompetent cervix causing you to never carry a baby. You can actually carry a baby even if your cervix is incompetent by it being stitched every time you're pregnant. So this is what happens. Every time you're towards 4 months of pregnancy, you go to the hospital, you go to your doctor, and they stitch it, they suture it with like threads, and they make it very firm so that your baby does not come out due to the pressure. We have signs and symptoms of cervical incompetence, which include back pain. So there are mothers that have back pain and they've never known why. There are a lot of reasons being given out there, but they're not true. You never know it is cervical incompetence. So if you have back pain, If you have pressure that you feel in your reproductive system and you feel like you're carrying something heavy, but you're actually not pregnant, please go and consult your doctor. You might be having cervical incompetence. If you find this content interesting, please subscribe and follow our socials.